No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Ow. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
Ooh, the gym. My old stomping grounds. Hank Patterson, fly fishing guide.
Riley Smith, tight end.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Hey, you wouldn't happen to be the kicker?
No, tight end.
Again, thank you. I'm looking for a kicker for Lithia Ford's fall kickoff sale. But you're not the kicker.
No.
Yeah. Nah, the kicker's probably taller and in a lot better shape. So, okay. What position do you play?
Tight end.
Squats. Yeah, try it sometime.
RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, is going all in this season with an all-star lineup. First up, he led the Broncos to 3 conference championships and 10 20-win seasons. It's Coach Leon Rice. Next, he's the founder and CEO of RowPaint.com. He played a little basketball in high school on the driveway with his mom. It's Andy Rowe.
Oh, no. Want to just paint my house?
Now that I can do. When I want Boise State to win, I trust Coach Rice to lead the Broncos to victory.
And when I want the best painting and garage floor coating, I trust RowPaint.com to get that job done right.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Today's broadcast is coming from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Canned Cocktails is perfect for your next game day tailgate party. Now, here's 4-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, how we doing? Good morning, Boise State fans, and welcome to a Thursday edition of Bronco Nation News Live. My name is BJ Rains, and excited to be with you today. So we're riding solo, no co-host on Thursdays, so it's just you guys, it's just me, and we'll see what happens today. But we've got some sound from Spencer Danielson. We're going to hear from Erik Chinander, the defensive coordinator. We're going to hear the offensive coordinator, Bush Hamdan, talk about Malachi Nelson and Chris Marshall and some of the toys that the offense has to work with now. And so we'll hear and get some of my biggest takeaways from the press conference yesterday. Kind of a unique day. Signing day used to be the big day, and now they signed one walk-on and one gray shirt that's coming in 2025. So it was a very anticlimactic day yesterday on signing day, but it was great to catch up with Spencer and Bush and Erik, and we'll have that audio for you here shortly. We are going to talk some basketball as well as Boise State turning their attention towards Utah State, a big game on Saturday down in Logan at the Spectrum. And Boise State fans, I did it. You can thank me later, but I have just guaranteed a win for Boise State on Saturday because I'll be recording an interview today with Danny Sprinkle, the Utah State coach. And as you guys know, we've been kind of joking around about it, but opposing coaches that have come on our show are 0-3. Let's not tell Utah State fans or Danny Sprinkle that, I guess, till after the interview is over, maybe. But this afternoon, I will be taping with Danny Sprinkle, the Utah State coach. We'll have that on tomorrow's show as well as on the pregame show. And Nico Medved, Steve Alford, Richard Pitino, 2 of those 3 on the road. And sure enough, they all went down to Boise State. So the opposing coaches are 0-3, and I got it done for you guys. That's what I do. My contribution. I got Danny Sprinkle on, and so I guess that wraps it up for Saturday. So congrats on the win, Boise State fans. But no, in all seriousness, excited to talk to Danny Sprinkle. He's got to be in the conversation for National Coach of the Year with what they've done at Utah State, and we will certainly get to that a little bit later in the show. We want to take your comments. The ICCU YouTube chat. The more comments and questions and thoughts in there, the more fun and easy today's show will go. So ICCU.com, check them out. There's a branch pretty much at every corner. Obviously, the easiest branch, though, is that mobile branch. Their eBranch online banking, so easy to use on the app, and happy that we made the switch to Idaho Central Credit Union. You can as well, ICCU.com. Make sure you check them out. And again, get your comments, your thoughts in. They are the sponsors of our YouTube chat. They are also one of our big sponsors. We can officially announce the date, May 31st, 2024. It is back. 3rd year of the Bronco Nation News Golf Tournament. We are super excited about this. Hope you will make plans to join us. Whole sponsorships and corporate sponsorships are now open. So if you have a business, you're interested in jumping on board as a sponsor. We had 30 foursomes the first year. We upped it to 50 foursomes last year and had it morning and afternoon. We expect to sell out 64 foursomes this year, morning and afternoon. You will have the option when you sign up this year to choose morning or afternoon. Last year we decided kind of late that we were going to add the afternoon, so we're going to have 2 sections. The morning will start at 8 a.m. The afternoon will start about 1 and 1:30 if you want to work a half day. And so 2 options this year, morning or afternoon. Both sessions will have sponsorships and things. I know last year if you played in the afternoon, a couple of the sponsored holes had to leave and didn't stay, so you got a little bit of the short change, and I apologize for that. But we will have sponsors at the holes morning and afternoon. It will be literally exactly the same, and you're going to have the option to choose morning or afternoon. But it's going to be an awesome time. KTIK will be out there with Johnny and Prater, and we'll try to get a lot of the coaches and things out there again, and maybe get some athletes out there on some NIL deals at some holes, signing some autographs. We had Tyson Degenhart doing the celebrity shot last year. Everybody got to meet him. We'll see if he's up to maybe do that again. But super excited for this, and hope you will make plans to join us. It's gotten bigger and better every year. And this will be the 3rd annual Bronco Nation News Golf Tournament. A portion of the proceeds going to the Idaho Youth Sports Commission. A couple other charities we're going to get involved this year as well. So make plans. It's the Friday after Memorial Day. Timberstone Golf Course out in Caldwell. And there's really nothing like this, in the Valley involving, the athletes and coaches and stuff. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So make plans. It's the same Friday it was the last 2 years. And that's going to be awesome. We'll have probably about April 1st or maybe late March, once basketball season is over, we'll put the foursomes on sale. But if you are wanting to sponsor a hole, or if you're wanting to get involved at a bigger level in terms of some of the corporate sponsorships we have, please reach out to me, Rains at BroncoNationNews.com, Rains at BroncoNationNews.com, and we can discuss whole sponsorships and things, and then we'll put those are available now, and then we'll get to the foursomes probably in late March once the basketball season is over, or maybe early April, who knows. But make plans now, May 31st, Timberstone Golf Course for the Bronco Nation News Golf Tournament, and we are looking forward to that. All right, we're going to start things off on the football. Tyree saying he has to join this year. We'd love to have you, man. Well, it's gotten bigger and better. As I said, we had 30 foursomes the first year, went up to 50 foursomes last year. We had 8 or 9 football players out there in the afternoon, and it was a lot of fun. And so we're going to see if we can expand that and add to that, and really looking forward to that. And I know ICCU is already in, and they're already wanting to talk about what item they're going to give away to everybody at their hole. We've done golf gloves and T-shirts and a lot of cool stuff. So I'm very appreciative of ICCU and all of our great sponsors. So if you're interested in getting involved in sponsoring the tournament, again, we're benefiting the Idaho Youth Sports Commission, some other charities as well. And it also does help a little bit with some of our travel costs and things. We take a very small portion, but we have costs associated with Bronco Nation News, and this helps as a fundraiser for us as well. So happy to be able to do that and help with road trip coverage and things next year, but also help some local charities that need it as well. So go ahead and let me know, Rains at BroncoNationNews.com, if your business is interested in sponsoring. And again, late March, we'll put the foursomes on sale, but go ahead and put it in your calendar, make plans May 31st is the BNN golf tournament this year. All right, we got the ICCU chat already going strong, and we do need to give a quick shout out to the women's basketball team. Nathaniel Wilder says, "Good morning, Bronco Nation. The women had a solid night last night. They dominated the third and fourth quarters," as Alexandra says. Yeah, they did. Kurt said it was 29-29 at halftime. It was actually even later in the game than that. It was 33-33 about midway through the third quarter. And again, San Jose, not one of the better teams in the league. They were 6-16 coming in, 1-8, and now they're 1-9 in conference play. But late in the third quarter, tie game, and then Boise State just went on a huge run, 44-13 to end the game, including a 29-4 run in the fourth quarter. So hats off to the Boise State women's team, Gordy Presnell. They had a solid game there, and you had Natalie Pasco going for 19 points, and obviously the Broncos played really well after a tough stretch. And you look at what Gordy Presnell and company are quietly doing. They started 0-2 in Mountain West play, and the Broncos now up to 6-4 in league play, and they are 15-8 overall. So Broncos going to be right there in the middle of the pack in the Mountain West going into the tournament, and certainly a nice win for them to come back and beat San Jose. So congrats to the women. All right, we'll talk about the men's team here in a little bit, but let's talk football first. And yes, I saw somebody say it. Got my Kansas City Chiefs shirt on today. We're 4 days within the game, and I got about 4 shirts, so we're starting the daily routine here. But looking forward to the Super Bowl, and can't wait for Sunday. It should be a great game, regardless of who you're rooting for, and looking forward to that, and to getting down to Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas with our sponsors. Circa Resort and Casino, if you're watching from Nevada, you can sign up for their Circa Squares. It's like your traditional Super Bowl square game, big game square party, except you don't have to randomly draw the numbers. You can just see the numbers you want, and they show you the odds, and you can take it. It's predetermined odds. Okay, 0 and 0 is plus 700. Okay, I'm putting 100 there. If it's 0-0, I win 700. Like, it's just that easy. If you're in Nevada, you can sign up for that. I believe Illinois, some of the other states have it as well. But Circa Squares, you can get more information, circasports.com. I know we got a lot of Reno, Las Vegas, Nevada folks that listen. And so we appreciate Circa Resort and Casino. They got some different watch parties going on for the big game if you're in the area as well. And looking forward to getting down on Sunday and watching the Super Bowl with my wife at Circa Resort and Casino. Also, speaking of Circa, they're going to be hosting us, and we've already got 65 people RSVP. This is going to be insane. It's going to be the party for all parties at the Mountain West tournament. 65 people have already RSVP'd. That doesn't count people that are staying at the casino or staying at Circa or the D. Others are obviously going to add to it. So we're taking over an entire pool up on the top level. It overlooks this huge score video board here where you can watch all the games and stuff. We're going to have food. We're going to have drinks. And Johnny and Prater are doing Idaho Sports Talk from 2 to 5 that day. I'll be out there doing my show in the morning and hanging out and meeting folks. So we'll have free shirts and hats and giveaways and swag. Really looking forward to this for the conference tournament, Friday, March 15th. Make plans to join us 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. I would recommend coming on the earlier side of that, maybe 10 to 2, whatever, just so you can get out, get back if you need to and get down to the arena. The first game is at 6 o'clock that night for the semifinals, but we'll be out there all day. Really looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And again, if you're not staying there, you can get in, but it's like a $40 or $50 cover charge to Stadium Swim. We will waive that. You get free entry if you just email me, Rains@BroncoNationNews.com. We'll get you free entry into Stadium Swim that day. Rains@BroncoNationNews.com. Email me. We'll get you set up, and you'll get free entry. Waive the cover charge to come hang out with other fans and BNN subscribers and supporters. We'll have a private cabana for that subscribers can head in and get to and get some appetizers and maybe a slider or two and grab a beverage. So we're going to take care of our subscribers, but everybody is welcome. Non-subscribers, non-whatever. Circa Resort and Casino, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on March 15th. That's the Friday, semifinal Friday. And hopefully Boise State will be playing that night in the semifinals. But we'll get to that in a few minutes. I've been bouncing around here, but let's start on football. I thought yesterday getting a chance to catch up with Spencer Danielson and some the coordinators obviously was a unique day, as I said early in the show. No, really signings or intrigue because obviously there was nothing, all the class was full. And so they went out in the month of January and really focused on the 2025 class in terms of their assistant coaches. But Spencer Danielson also said that he did not have his coaches on the road as much as maybe they typically would be because the class was pretty much done. but B, he just really wanted them here and to be with the current players and to really start to continue to develop that bond with the position groups and the players and things. So he made the choice to have him go out some, but he wanted them here. And a lot of times in the month of January, that's just winter conditioning workouts with the strength staff, and the coaches are all over the country recruiting until signing day, but that was not the case. They did go out some and certainly got a head start on 2025, but for the most part, it sounds like he wanted his coaches here and around the players and working with them, and I think that might have, might already be just yet another positive sign in what Spencer Danielson is doing to build this team. And, Malachi Nelson, Chris Marshall, we talked about all of it. I got some different clips here I want to play. I want to start it off. This is about a 4-minute clip because there's a couple questions in there, but it's about Malachi Nelson. We're going to first hear from Spencer Danielson, then we'll hear from Bush Hamdan, and Bush Hamdan gets into Maddox Madsen and the competition there and stuff. But Malachi Nelson has been on campus for a couple weeks now, and he's fitting in with the offense, trying to pick up everything. You're only about a month away from the start now, less than a month away. March 5th, I believe, is the first spring practice. So you're less than a month from spring ball, and Malachi Nelson is trying to learn the offense and get up to speed and do everything he can. So he's ready to get out there for that first practice. All eyes, of course, going to be on Malachi Nelson, the 5-star quarterback. The huge offseason addition for the Broncos. Yesterday, Spencer Danielson talked about Malachi Nelson and how he's fitting in so far.
He's doing an awesome job. Since obviously being on campus and us being straight up and forward with him and his family, how hard it's going to be, all the things we talked about. He's been awesome. He's been a great teammate. He's working his tail off. He's getting extra work with quarterbacks and receivers on his own, and he knows he needs to come in here and compete. And that's the awesome part about Malachi and our team is he knows that. Nothing's going to be given to him. He needs to be ready to compete with Mad Dog, and grow in every aspect. And he has. He's been a great addition to our team. Haven't obviously seen him throw the football at all. We can't get into that, but just how he is as a teammate and how he is in regards to how he works, it's been awesome. We were able to spend some time off the field. We go to church together on Sundays with a good group of some other teammates, and just seeing him gel with them has been awesome.
Is there any, from what you know about him, I guess you said you may not be able to see him watch throw football much right now, but where do you expect him to thrive, and where does he, in your mind, maybe need to grow a little bit to, maybe be a QB1 for you guys?
Yeah, I think just like anything, he's a freshman, and that's the thing that not only from the recruiting process, obviously a very highly touted recruit, rightfully so, but he's a freshman. So there's a lot of things, not only even in the weight room to training to building, putting more body armor on him. There's a lot of things that he's excited to grow in and that we're excited for him to do. Obviously can't really speak to a lot of the football side of things. He's extremely bright in meetings and picking things up. But we'll have a lot better idea of exactly where he is as we go through practice 1 all the way through practice 15. But in my interactions with him, his interaction with his teammates, he's been awesome. He's been low ego, high output, humble and hungry in regards to how he comes to work every day. And that's everything. That's everything, obviously, for the quarterback, but for any position on our team. Because no different, the same thing I'm telling you guys, the same thing I'm telling our guys, that you could be a 2-year starter here. You could have just walked on campus. Nothing will be given to you. Everything will be earned. There are no, well, you're the starter for 2024. No, we got a lot of work left to do. We've got a lot of work left to do. There's a lot of things that still need to be figured out at all positions, all 22 on O&D and special teams. So that's the thing we're bringing into our guys, that just because you've either been here or you just walked on campus, nothing's going to be given. You got to compete for everything you get.
How much did NIL come up when you were recruiting him?
Hardly at all. Because the guys that we recruit, they need to want to be here. Why? It's different for everybody. But either the structures, the place, how we're going to grow them as people. We talk about all the time being the best version of yourself. And for the guys that we're looking for, that it will come up through conversation. We'll have those conversations as we go through, but it is by no means something that is a defining factor for guys coming here. That's not what I believe in. It's not what we believe in. It's about finding the right fit for this place and them having a very clear understanding, Ron, what it takes to be a Boise State football player and where we need to go. So for us, is go find the right fit. If it becomes about things outside of development, outside of competing, outside of the things that we focus on a lot, they're probably not a fit for us. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that they're a bad kid or a bad person. It's not a fit for Boise State. And us being true to that, once again, talk about being built different. It takes a different type of guy to come here. They have to compete in everything they do, from practice to in the weight room. And that's the standards we hold here.
Malachi's a guy that doesn't necessarily need NIL money. He made quite a bit before he ever got to USC. I mean, in a way, is that part of what makes him a perfect fit here, that he's not interested in the NIL because he's already done it in the past?
What makes Malachi Nelson a perfect fit here, Ron, is he wants to continue to grow and develop to be not only an elite quarterback, but an elite individual. That's who he is, right? That's how his family's raised him, being around his mom and his dad, phenomenal people, and how they've not only grown him, but the rest of his siblings. He fits here because he's like, Coach, I want to develop. I want to be the best quarterback I can be. I want to be the best person I can be. And I know that's what you guys are about. We tell people we are a developmental program. It's not about just finding needs and if you can't do it, we move on. Like, we want to develop people. And I believe in developing people. They will always be better football players. He wanted that. And that was my initial conversation with his dad, with him, with every single one of these players. We talk about Malachi a lot, but there's a lot of other really good football players that are coming to Boise State football that we need. And it's all been the same. How hard it's going to be, the standards we hold, and where we're going to need to push this forward, and how we're going to develop you as a person for life. I care about when they leave here the type of husband, father they are. Like, that matters to me. And developing them in that way, that will always make sure they make the right decision on 4th and 1 too, right? But it's developing those people.
To Malachi, in terms, I'm not sure how much you scripted spring ball and how that's going to work out, but it's going to be CJ and Malachi. I know you got a couple of other arms, but the focus is going to have to be on those two. How are you going to structure that?
No, good question, Mike. We're still working through that. Obviously, with spring ball about a month away, we're still, because competition is going to be everything. And not only how we script practice in regards to who's getting what reps, team periods. Are we getting enough 2-minute in there to see how quarterbacks, but offense and defense as a whole, operate in these critical situations? So, Mike, it's honestly something that we're going through as a staff this week. Should really have pretty much the entire spring ball laid out from scripts to periods by the end of this week into early next week, so we can make sure that at the quarterback position, but also at all positions, when you leave spring ball, not only do we have a really good idea of where they're at, I want that young man, whoever it is, to have a really good idea about it too. Not because they didn't have enough opportunities, not because it wasn't, set up in a situation. I want us all to be on the same page, because then at the end of spring, every single player on our team meets with me again. And this is where you're on the depth chart. This is who you are. This is where you are from strength and conditioning, academics. So, Mike, it's a full evaluation at the end of spring. And it's hey, Mike, this is exactly where you are right now. Not maybe a random opinion. This is black and white. This is how you are academically, in the weight room, in life, training room, and obviously on the football field and where they see their role. So we're still working through that in regards to reps and who's going to get what, but competition is going to be high. So for them and for us as a coaching staff, we can see exactly where they are and where they need to grow and develop. And Maddox Madsen will be able to, as we go through spring, get a little bit. He's obviously still recovering from his knee, but hopefully as we go through spring, he'll be able to get potentially some reps. So we're still kind of unclear of exactly how much, but as we go through spring, he'll be able to get some.
More than just throwing reps?
Still working through it, Mike, and I'm not telling you. I know our trainers are still kind of working through some things, because Maddox is working his tail off in the training room. That's just who he is. So hopefully as we get kind of later in spring, potentially some 7-on-7, maybe even some team as we go. That's still a little bit up in the air.
And that certainly would be huge news for Boise State if Malachi Nelson could do some team stuff. I still would say that's probably unlikely. Obviously, said it's still a month away till spring ball, and so Spencer Danielson's trying to be optimistic, but you heard a lot of good stuff there about Malachi Nelson and that battle with the battle that's coming with Malachi Nelson, and I think it's going to be we're all talking about the spring game maybe being one of the more highly anticipated spring games in a long time, and the number one reason right there is going to be probably because of Malachi Nelson. Everybody wants to see him and see what he can do and see this quarterback battle, which really won't take place until the summer or the fall. With Maddox probably not being 100% until the fall from that standpoint. But even if he can get out there and do some individual throwing and things like that, is going to be just a huge deal. So, Malachi Nelson, you guys got to be fired up for that. It sounds like he's fitting in well. Bush Hamdan talked about him as well and that quarterback battle and how Malachi Nelson is handling this. Let's hear from Bush Hamdan. Again, get your comments in the ICCU YouTube chat, your thoughts on Malachi Nelson, your thoughts on this offense. Here's Bush Hamdan talking about adding in Malachi Nelson.
I think we placed an offer to him in the 9th grade when we were at Washington. Just, you remember these recruiting trips that you have, and I think at that time, you look at the players now. It was Bryce Young was out there, C.J. Stroud was out there, Jaden Daniels was out there, and Mal was kind of the young guy in that region. And so just a guy you identify early in the process, knew he was going to be special, and we're sure excited to have him here.
What does it take to?
What's that? Not very much, and when you have Chris Peterson, you kind of got to keep it on the DL, So, but I just remember seeing him at that camp, and it was a little bit more of a funny thing at the time, but just wanted to establish that at that time.
What did you see out of him in that camp that made you know he was that special?
Yeah, I was just really impressed. Just natural throwing ability. I thought he had a command at that camp, a level of focus, so wanted to get better from a coachability standpoint. So, again, probably part of the problem when you offer a guy that early, but sometimes you just see a guy and you decide to go in that direction.
What's Malachi's workload right now? What are you learning about him, study habits? How serious is he taking this thing?
A lot. That guy's got a lot of work to do, and I say that in a funny way. I just think, here's a guy that was a freshman. He himself has been banged up at his time at USC and was limited there practicing-wise. So he's been awesome. I think that's always step one, is gaining the respect of your teammates, and he's done a tremendous job with that, which we really felt he would just by the type of person he is. But, certainly doing a good job of getting in here, familiarizing himself with the different terms and the language and the offense, because as we know, once spring ball starts, these practices are going to be critical for him.
I think we all know kind of the competitor that Mad Dog is, but what's his reaction been to, the shakeup in the QB room as he kind of comes back from that kind of significant injury?
Yeah, I think there was good communication with Maddox. I think he knows, I probably don't love anybody on this team as much as him, you know what I mean? And so he knew we were going to take a guy. And I think naturally that guy's somewhat been that underdog his whole life, if you will. And so when I placed the call, I said, hey, it's either going to be him or it's going to be him. He's like, awesome, just another guy, in my way type thing. And so it's going to be a quarterback room that is going to be competitive, and that's what we want to do at all phases of every position on this offense, is make it as competitive as possible. But I also think for many, many years here at Boise State, there's also been that part of rallying behind guys and doing it together and doing whatever's best for the team. So,
what would you guys put the over on, I guess, the percentage at that Maddox Madsen is the starter against Georgia Southern? Is 15%, maybe 20%? All this hype around Malachi Nelson, wouldn't it be kind of a buzzkill or a big disappointment if he's not your starter week one against Georgia Southern? Nothing against Maddox Madsen. I just don't think you bring in a Malachi Nelson. I don't think he comes here if he's not the starter week one. So maybe 20% is too high. I guess Boise agrees with me, 20%. Obviously there's a competition there. I will say this, obviously Bush Hamdan really likes Maddox Madsen. He earned a lot of time last year when a lot of people thought it should have just been Talon Green playing, and they found a way to work Maddox Madsen out there and end up giving him the starting job. And so obviously he's the incumbent, so to speak, and I think that certainly is going to factor into this. But I just think Malachi Nelson is, they can say what they want to about they can say what they want to about a QB competition, and CJ Tiller I know will be in the mix also. Somebody says he'd rather have Tiller than Madsen. Let's see, below 15%, but wouldn't be surprised if Mad Dog earned it. Jordan always taking the positive approach, prefers whoever the coach puts out there. Don't trust hyped fans from the couch more than that. Yeah, I agree with you. The coaches will certainly put the guy they think's best out there, but I think there is a lot of hype about a 5-star Malachi Nelson, and so everyone's just assuming and expecting him to be the guy. But I think from Madsen, not helping him either that he has to miss spring ball. That's going to put him at a little bit of a disadvantage. I know they say that it'll be a fair competition. It'll start in the summer and fall, but if Malachi Nelson is just getting all these extra team reps that Madsen would have got, that certainly is hurting Malachi Nelson's, or it's helping Malachi Nelson and hurting Maddox Madsen from that standpoint to not be able to have that and get out there. Chris Marshall, Cam Camper, the wide receivers, the rest of the offense. This was Spencer Danielson's first opportunity to talk about adding Chris Marshall, who does have some issues in his past and had in the past some issues at previous teams and got booted from Ole Miss and was at Texas A&M and left there also after getting suspended. So why they took Chris Marshall and kind of the outlook for him and the rest of this offense, we'll hear from Bush and Spencer in just a second. But I do want to take a quick 90-second timeout. Thanks to some of our sponsors. You're watching this show for free on YouTube thanks to our sponsors. So please view this 90-second commercial break, and we'll be right back here on Bronco Nation News. All Bronco Nation News broadcasts come from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mix premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Spirits, perfect for your next game day tailgate party. Our title sponsor is rowpaint.com. For all your commercial, industrial, residential painting needs, check out rowpaint.com. Don't forget about their concrete coatings. Transform that ugly concrete slab on your back patio in your garage in just one day. Contact rowpaint.com for a free estimate today. The official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, and our title sponsor at Bronco Nation News is rowpaint.com. Idaho Central Credit Union's been helping members achieve financial success for more than 80 years. There's an ICCU branch on almost every corner, but the closest is in your pocket with free eBranch mobile and online banking. See why more than 500,000 members love ICCU, and join 1 in 4 Idahoans by making the switch today at ICCU.com. Since 1984, Ridley's Family Markets has prided itself on being a hometown food and drug store that employed value members of the local community. Ridley's Family Markets has 13 locations in the state of Idaho and many more in the surrounding states. Download the new Ridley's app to your smartphone, get savings up to 40% off at the checkout line, and find a location near you at shopridleys.com. Former Bronco Matt Bauscher is once again the number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. No home is too big or too small for Matt and his team. Let them fulfill all your real estate needs at BauscherRealEstate.com. Back here on a live edition of Bronco Nation News, a Thursday. We appreciate you guys for checking us out. Make sure you subscribe on our YouTube channel. Subscribe, hit that like button there in the bottom of the screen. Help us show up a little higher in the algorithms and things like that. We're trying to push past 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's free. It's easy. If you're watching on Twitter or Facebook, we ask you to please jump over real quick to the YouTube channel. It's just youtube.com/Bronco Nation News. And hit that subscribe button, and we're about 550 or something away from 5,000, and we would love to get there as soon as possible, and definitely by the end of spring ball. So if you can subscribe on YouTube, it's free, it's easy, and then you can even turn on your notifications for when Bronco Nation News goes live, so you never miss any of our pre- or post-game shows or our broadcast whenever we go live. Okay, Chris Marshall, he was the 5-star receiver, heck of a player, one of the top players in the class. But again, Ole Miss, Texas A&M didn't work out at either place. Boise State taking a little bit of a chance on him. And here's Spencer Danielson commenting for the first time publicly on Chris Marshall.
You publicly since Chris Marshall came. How's he fitting in, and kind of just your thoughts on him?
Yeah, Chris has been awesome. He's focused. He knows that he needs this place, and we've talked a little bit about it. With Chris, obviously, he's had some stuff off the field. He's gotten himself into some issues prior to coming to Boise State. As a football staff, as administration, we did tireless research going through it to make sure, talking to coaches, prior places, had long talks, obviously, with his parents, everybody around his life, and because we are very protective of our locker room. We're very protective of this place. Who we bring here is everything to me. It has nothing. We will never bring someone here just because they're a good football player. It has to be who they are mentally too. Obviously, football and their talent level starts the conversation because we want to find the best football players as well, but you got to find the right people first. And with going through it with Chris, going through the situations he's been in and going through it with people that are surround him, we believe that this is a place that he can come, he can develop, and we know that we have the structures in place to where he can be very focused. It is football, it is school, it's about being the best version of himself, and he knows that. He was very adamant as we recruit him that he knows that that's exactly what he wants as well. It's not that just what we want for him. He wants that. He wants those structures where he can work, grow, develop, and be the best football player he can be. And BJ, along the way, obviously continue to grow as a young man and make the right decisions, maybe not the easy ones in situations, to where he can grow and develop here. So the couple weeks he's been here with his teammates, with his coaches, he's done a great job. Obviously, we're only so long into this semester, but he's also very aware that this is his shot. This is what it is. This is what you got. He's going to be held to a very high standard, just like everybody on our team, and we're not changing for anybody. And he knows that's very aware of it.
When you do recruit these guys that you have had a history in the past, do you often see that they do realize that yes, this is my last chance, and appreciate it a little bit more?
Yeah, I would believe, in my opinion, that it's It's case-by-case basis. And actions prove everything, right? You can say as much as you want. And these young men, they got to prove it with their actions. They got to prove it with their actions when they are here as well. But also the people that are around them that can really feel their heart, and getting to know these individuals too, that they want to improve. And they also know they need to. And they know that the structures they have in place here, how we're going to develop them, how we're going to make this a situation where they can learn from the mistakes in the past, grow and develop here to make sure you don't make them in the future, is everything. But I do believe for guys that have potentially had issues in the past and have had things that have gotten them in trouble, they know that this is the shot they need. And this is all they got. And there's a streamlined focus to know I have to handle business. I got to do exactly what I'm told, or I'm not going to have this shot either. And I know I need this.
In terms of the talent, just what kind of wrinkle does he add to your offense?
Yeah, very explosive receiver. Obviously, he was a basketball player most of his life. Really came on the scene as a football player as a junior, but long, athletic, can run, phenomenal catch radius, and a big-time competitor. I mean, you see that when you watch his basketball film, football film. I mean, that ball in the air, he's going to find a way to get it. So football-wise, very excited for who he is, but I'm excited for him to grow and develop to be the best version of himself. To talk with him, there's nothing I want more than him to grow to become the best man he can be here. Football will take care of itself for Chris, and in the long run, he's going to be an influence for young kids down the road too, to make sure that he helps them and has a legacy in the future.
Spencer,
There he is, Spencer Danielson, talking about Chris Marshall. So far, so good, it sounds like. Bush Hamdan also talked about Chris Marshall, but really this wide receiver group, and I want to hear from Bush. I mean, you guys think about this wide receiver group. A lot of people aren't even talking about getting Latrell Caples back. I think that's going to be huge. You add in Chris Marshall. You add in Cam Camper, who has already done it at the Big Ten level. I mean, this guy, go watch his tape. Impressive in the Big Ten at Indiana. Coming off an injury, but if he's healthy. And then, oh, yeah, by the way, you got Austin Bolt and you got Prince Strawn and Chase Penry. I mean, this wide receiver group went from being a group this year that frankly wasn't that great to, once Eric, behind Eric McAllister, and once he left, to a group that maybe now is going to be one of the deepest and strongest positions on the team. So I think that the wide receiver group is very enticing when you add in Cam Camper, you add in Chris Marshall, you get Latrell Caples back. I'm very excited for the potential of this wide receiver group. So Bush Hamdan, first on Chris Marshall, and then getting in, or I believe first on Cam Camper, and then getting into the rest of the group. Let me see which clip I got here to make sure I got the right one. Bush Hamdan did talk to the media yesterday. I'm going to make sure I got the right clip pulled up so I don't play the wrong one. Bush on Cam and the wide receivers. So we'll start on Bush talking about Cam Camper from Indiana, I believe, and the wide receivers. He was asked about Chris as well. I don't remember the exact order of it, but Bush Hamdan on the different wide receivers here.
Camp is one of those guys I remember asking in the evaluation process. I said, hey, can this guy be a big-time Mountain West receiver? And to a T, everybody I talked to is, no, if this guy stays healthy, he can be a big-time Big Ten receiver. So I think you hit the nail on it. We got to keep him fresh, keep him healthy. His rehab process is going to be critical, but we're extremely excited about him, not just from the standpoint of his play history, but just the leadership he can bring, the veteran leadership for a guy that's been there and done that.
What will he be able to do in the spring? Anything at all?
Yeah, I think, we're certainly going to get him out there, running routes day by day. I don't think we're going to have him, have much contact, but certainly want to just make sure, the confidence is built for him with his leg and his knee and get him to where he's got to get to.
With Chris Marshall, I mean, obviously, has some stuff in the past, but you guys, what'd you see to take a chance on him, and what's his on the field kind of potential for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think, for me, it's like I just don't ever want to, resist the responsibility of coaching. That's our job to me, right? Is not everybody's a ready-made product, and I don't feel you can turn down guys that aren't maybe just ready-made on day one. I think, in my talks with him, it's a guy that has a serious dream of being an NFL player and a focus to do that, and I'm extremely excited about taking that step with him every step of the way, and all of our guys. What do I think potentially from Chris Marshall? I mean, he needs to be a draft pick, and that's as honest as I can be about it. I think he's #1 wide receiver in the class of 2022. I remember evaluating him again when I was at a previous school, and I just drew that line. It was like it was him, and then it was a bunch of other guys. And so the opportunity to get a talented player like that, again, our job to bring him into this type of culture. What better place in the country to bring him into than a place like Boise State? We're excited about the opportunity.
How aggressive you were at wide receiver, kind of, especially in the transfer portal, I guess. You also get Latrell back. It seemed like, last year with the wide receivers, Ashton was the best in the country probably with the ball in his hands after catch, after contact, whatever. I don't know how dynamic the receiver group was after the catch for the most part. So is that an area you can grow in, and can these guys do that?
Yeah, it's obviously something we have addressed. I think, Jay, the biggest thing is just the health, if you will, of all of those guys, right? We look at, you mentioned Latrell. Latrell, we think, can be one of the more dynamic players in this conference, if not on the West Coast. He's got to stay healthy, right? We got glimpses of Austin Bolt and what he could do. I think the one guy is just maybe from a youth standpoint would be Prince. Chase Penry's a guy that did some good things, got hurt, right? So it's, I think we've realized the amount of depth we need at that position. I remember going into weeks where we probably had 4 scholarship guys that were ready to roll in big games. And so for us, what we feel like we've done is create a lot of competition in that room. I think those guys understand that, and we really hope the competition is going to bring the best out of guys.
Is Latrell good to go for what will his status be for spring?
Yeah, I know I sound like a broken record, but he's another guy. He's good to go, but we're certainly going to be, monitoring his workload, making sure that he is easing back into things and feeling healthy.
Well, good sign there. Latrell Capels should be back for spring and in full capacity there. It sounds like Cam Camper is going to get out and do some things, but man, you talk about adding Cam Camper and Chris Marshall, an instant offense, so to speak, in terms of upgrading that room. And then you get Latrell Capels back, which I think is a huge deal to have Latrell Capels back for this team at the wide receiver position. So a lot of reasons to be excited off on the offensive side of the ball with the running backs coming back. Dune says QB room is the biggest question mark on the offense. I would probably agree with that. Yeah, you just don't know what you're getting. I mean, I would still say there's some questions with Cam Camper and Chris Marshall and Latrell Capels and the receiver group just to see them prove it, at this level. Capels coming off the injury. There's some questions there, I think, and Cam Camper as well. So I would think you feel good about the wide receivers, but you could have some questions there. Don't think you have any questions about running backs. Everybody's talking about Genty, and I know this is kind of a joke here, but how hard is it for the quarterbacks to hand it left, hand it right, screen pass to Genty? And yeah, that's obviously going to be a huge part of the offense is Ashton Genty. I'm excited about Breezy Dubar being running back 2 this year and what he can bring to the table. So a lot of reasons to be excited there. We haven't really talked much about the tight ends. You have Matt Lauder coming back, some other guys there. And then the offensive line returns, 4 guys that have starting experience. And they got to find that right tackle, and there's some options there. That's certainly going to be one of the spring storylines is who replaces Cade Beresford at the right tackle spot. And there's some other shuffling that can go on there in terms of the offensive line. But 4 guys back that, started multiple games last year that you feel pretty good about on the offensive side of the ball. What about the defensive side of the ball? And we are going to talk basketball here in a little bit, but I do want to hear Erik Chinander, defensive coordinator. How you guys feeling about the defense? What's your level of concern, if any, about some of the positions there? And obviously they have retooled the defensive coaching staff with a couple new additions, and Erik Chinander being promoted to DC. Went out and got Jonathan Irby, the corner, got an edge, got some other guys there and with some experience. We talked to Erik Chinander about the defense. How you guys feeling about it? Let us know in the chat. And here's Erik yesterday at signing day.
Yeah, first off, the defense, Spencer's still going to be involved. He's the head football coach. He's coached defense for a long time. We're not going to walk away from a system that he's familiar with because he wants to not necessarily micromanage the situation, but be able to come down and talk with the guys and help those guys out a little bit. So he'll still be involved. It'll still be based around the system he's built. Some of the things that we wanted to add, he had talked about adding. We had previously had that conversation between him and myself about things that maybe we could tweak or things that we could bring in the off season, and those are still things we're exploring. Just like Bush said, watching a lot of NFL film, some of it translates to the college game on defense, some of it doesn't, but more in the way, I guess, they're building those pressure packages and how can we make it more user-friendly for the for the young men playing football for us, where they can do a lot or present a lot and still do it really fast. And it may be a little for us, but a lot for the opposing offense. So I think just tweaking some of those pressure packages, getting some new ideas on third down, those are kind of the major things that will be, I guess, quote unquote, changing going forward.
Anything else? Erik, a lot of roster changes, a lot of new faces with this entire football team. It seems like about 2/3 of those are new additions on defense. And so the emphasis obviously was there based on your guys' actions. Where do you feel most comfortable about where this football team got better this offseason in defense?
Yeah, well, I just feel like overall speed, speed at just about every position on defense. And we have a lot of returning guys coming back, whether old in age or experience, which is a really, really good thing. And then I think we've brought in a lot of guys that can either compete to take those spots, help on special teams, or get on the field in a package right away just because of the speed that they bring to the team. So I think that the game is ever evolving. It's changing positionally as well as schematically. So to be able to have some players with position versatility and also get enough speed on the field versus these spread operations was critical for us in the recruiting process.
There he is, Erik Chinander, Boise State defensive coordinator. And if you didn't get a chance to hear the full interviews or want to hear more, the full 25 minutes with Spencer Danielson and the full 10, 15 minutes with Bush and Erik is up on the Bronco Nation News YouTube channel. So just check out youtube.com/Bronco Nation News. You can search for Bronco Nation News at YouTube, and all the press conference interviews and things get put up there. And like I said earlier, hope you'll subscribe on YouTube and help us get closer to our 5,000 subscriber goal that we're trying to get to. Gonna switch gears and talk basketball in the big game on Saturday. But first, want to tell you and thank a couple of our sponsors. Lithia Ford of Boise. They've got 5 NIL deals. Speaking of football, 3 football players, Ahmed Hassanin, Andrew Simpson, Matt Lauder, all driving vehicles from Lithia Ford of Boise as part of NIL deals. They also got Brooke Patterson from the women's golf team, Paige Bars from the volleyball team. So Lithia Ford of Boise, big supporters of Boise State Athletics and big supporters of Bronco Nation News. Please check them out. Consider them for your next vehicle purchase, and you can view that full inventory vehicle at lithiafordboise.com. Taco Bell, well, they're hiring. TacoBellWorks.com, and they've got a cool promotion where you can get up to half your wages the very next day after your shift. So you need some quick cash, need a job. You don't have to wait 3 weeks for that first paycheck to come. Taco Bell can help you out here in the local Treasure Valley freestanding Taco Bell stores. TacoBellWorks.com, SON Management. They run and operate 36 Taco Bell locations in and around the area. So return the favor. And again, they're big supporters, and they donate a lot to student scholarships at Boise State as well. We're very appreciative of their support of Bronco Nation News. So next time you're looking to go out and get a meal, head over to Taco Bell, and you will not be disappointed. And thanks again, SON Management and the Nicolason family. Speaking of jobs, Transportation Compliance Service, they can help you get into the trucking industry. All the permits and things you need to get out there towing that first load in no time, they can take care of it for you. Folks that try to do it themselves end up going out of business. Over 75% do, in fact, because they screw something up in the paperwork and can't figure it out, can't stay on top of things. Let Transportation Compliance Service help you out every step of the way and manage all your permits and things you need to get out there towing that first load. So check them out, transcompservice.com. The Blue and Orange Store, speaking of NIL, they've got the Tyson Degenhardt shirts, they've got the Max Rice shirts, they got the Ashton Genty hoodies, all that stuff you're looking for. They got it at the Blue and Orange Store, theblueandorangestore.com. Free shipping, any order online over $40. You can do store pickup as well. My wife did that last week. It was super easy. And they've got everything, shirts, hats, bumper stickers, car flags, you name it. They've got everything at the Blue and Orange Store. It is a Boise State fans paradise there for gear. So check them out, the Blue and Orange Store, right there at the Boise Town Square Mall on the second floor next to Pro Image. Bronco Brew.coffee. My wife ordered some last week and had it at our doorstep within 24 hours. If you're in the area, they'll bring it right to you. Freshly roasted to order coffee. Bronco Brew.coffee. You're helping Boise State University with every sip. The NIL game, a couple bucks go straight into the pocket of an athlete of your choice. You choose it on the website. It's very easy. They also have a QB1 fund where they're pooling money together to help the NIL game at Boise State. So Bronco Brew.coffee. check them out. And they're big supporters of Bronco Nation News. And they're, as I say every time, to have that logo on your product costs a lot of money, believe me. And so they are supporting Boise State and the NIL game. And you can return the favor and have some delicious tasting coffee at the same time at BroncoBrew.coffee. And weighed in down about 12 pounds thanks to our friends at Lean Feast, trying to work off the extra weight everybody gains over the holidays and trying to get in shape for this pool party down in Vegas next month. And Lean Feast is helping make it happen. LeanFeastMeridian.com. Check them out. Dave and his staff do a tremendous job. Healthy eating, and you will not be disappointed. LeanFeastMeridian.com. Fully customizable meal prep, 2 minutes in the microwave, and you're eating steak and shrimp and fish and chicken and all the great options they have there at Lean Feast. So check them out. That website is incorrect there on the screen. I got to update that. The actual web address is LeanFeastMeridian.com. All right, let's talk basketball. And as I said, and yes, John Mallory, I know he's getting in shape for the pool party as well. Really looking forward to that coming up in about a month down at Circa Resort Casino. 5 weeks from Friday, actually, is when it is. So 5 weeks from today, Johnny and Prater and I will be doing our shows at Circa Resort and Casino and getting ready for the first couple of games to start in that conference tournament. What is that seeding going to look like? Who is going to have to play in the 6-11 game? Which of these top six is not going to get a bye in the first round? What are the matchups going to look like? It is so much still at stake with 5 weeks to go here. Boise State with 8 games left in the conference season and a 4-way tie, as we've talked about. After the results the other night, Boise State falls in Fort Collins. You have Utah State losing at home as well. So you're now in New Mexico, by the way, getting a big win at Wyoming. I was not expecting that at all. It creates a 4-way tie. 7-3 are New Mexico, San Diego State, Utah State, and Boise State. And 3 more teams, Colorado State, Nevada, and UNLV, only 1 game back. So you've got 7 teams within 1 game of first place in the Mountain West Conference. Just absolutely insane that you can be 1 game back of first place, but also playing in the first round. 2 of these teams will be playing in the first day, the opening round, because only 5 teams get a bye, and you've got 7 within 1 game of first place. So every game is just going to be crazy. Starting tomorrow night, the Friday night Mountain West game tomorrow night, San Diego State is at Nevada. That should be a really exciting one. Looking forward to that. And then you go right to Logan, Utah on Saturday. Bronco Nation News will be live with the pre- and post-game shows. Looking forward to that one, and it's a big game for both teams. Obviously, Utah State already lost 1 home game, trying to avoid another. Boise State trying to avenge the home loss to Utah State a couple weeks ago. Utah State, the only Mountain West team that Boise State, has not beaten. I guess UNLV, they don't play again, so that's going to be tough to do. But in terms of the top 5 teams that everybody expects, the top 6, Boise State's already beaten San Diego State. They've already beaten New Mexico. They've already beaten Nevada. They've already beaten Colorado State. You don't want to get swept for a lot of reasons. For tiebreaker purposes, if it comes down to NCAA tournament seeding, don't forget Boise State won the Mountain West championship 2 years ago and still got a regular season and the postseason, and yet Colorado State got a better seed than them in the NCAA tournament, in part because Colorado State swept Boise State, in the regular season. So you do not want to get swept by Utah State if you can avoid it. And certainly it helps, in terms of the battle for first place, because you get swept by them, they're going to have the tiebreaker over you. And then also there's just there's going to be a whole list of tiebreakers and things that we'll get into as we get a little closer to the end of the regular season. Still a lot of time that has to play out. And it's going to come down to scheduling and who you play and how many games left you have. And don't forget, Utah State does not have to go to Reno. They were the one team that got to avoid 1 game against the other top 6, and that's really, and it's this close. It's really going to be hard for it's essentially maybe taking a loss or taking a really tough game away from Utah State because they don't have to go to Reno. So that's a big break for them, and they get UNLV 1 time, I believe, and I believe it's only in. Trying to remember how that works. I think they only played Utah State or UNLV once, and it was down there. They do not have UNLV coming back, and they already beat them, so only having to play UNLV once is a benefit. So Utah State seems like the easy winner in this unbalanced schedule, which I think momentum is building maybe as early as next season, it sounds like, where you could go to 20 conference games. I think that needs to happen, and I think you're hearing a lot more coaches talking about how they'd be on board with going to 20 games. And if you have a conference title decided by that unbalanced schedule this year, I certainly think you're going to have folks that want that change and change quickly. Derek says that Nevada is going to be 6. They've got a brutal schedule still ahead. They've got a really tough schedule when you look at Nevada, and we can take a quick look at some of this. Nevada's schedule, as I mentioned, they host San Diego State on Friday. Then they host New Mexico on Tuesday. They go to UNLV. They host Wyoming. They're at San Jose State. Then they're at Colorado State, home to Fresno, and then they're at Boise State and home to UNLV. So still 2 games left against UNLV, which is their big rivalry. They still have San Diego State and New Mexico at home. They still have Colorado State and Boise State on the road. So, yeah, certainly going to be a tough go for them. You mentioned Utah State. They've got Boise State on Saturday at home. They have to go to Wyoming, which is never easy, and they go to Colorado State. That's going to be a tough week for them next week at Wyoming, at Colorado State. And then they host San Diego State, and they host New Mexico as well in their final game of the regular season. New Mexico's got a tough finishing stretch. They're home to UNLV coming up, I believe, on Saturday. They still have to go to Nevada and to San Diego State. That's going to be their tough week is next week. They're on the road back-to-back at Nevada, at San Diego State, and we'll certainly find out something about them. And then they have Colorado State at home. That's 3 straight tough ones in a row. And then they are home to Air Force, home to Fresno. But the final 2 Saturdays, New Mexico is at Boise State, and they finish the regular season at Utah State. So still road games at Nevada, San Diego State, Boise State, Utah State. You have to expect that New Mexico has got a couple more losses coming just based on the schedule alone. And you look at Colorado State's schedule, no, it doesn't get easy for them either. They still have to go to San Diego State. They do have Utah State at home, but they have to go to New Mexico, to UNLV still, and they have Nevada at home, and then Wyoming and Air Force the last bit of the season. But still some tough games. I would say 1, 2, 3, 5 of their final 8 are going to be tough games as well. So a lot of losable games for other teams still on the schedule, and Boise State, they have a nice stretch coming up here. Everybody knows about the game on Saturday. Then they get the bye week to kind of refresh a little bit. And then you've got Fresno and San Jose State at home. That's 2 chances for nice wins. Hopefully win big, help the computer numbers. Fresno and San Jose State at home after the bye. And then you go to Wyoming and to Air Force. That's not going to be easy. Back-to-back road games. The Broncos are staying out on the road. But you just saw what New Mexico did at Wyoming. I mean, certainly that's a game that you think Boise State should be able to win. And then you have Air Force, as I said, so that's 4 straight games against teams ranked outside the top 175 at KenPom. And that's, what you would think is 4 wins. And then you have New Mexico and Nevada at home. So New Mexico and Nevada are both home games. Again, if you lose Saturday, you're putting your eggs in your basket that you can win both those games, and that's certainly going to be tough. You win on Saturday in Logan, that allows you to maybe stub your toe against one of those 2 teams, New Mexico or Nevada. But at home, I think both those teams, they've already beaten them both on the road. I think they have a chance to beat them both at home. That's certainly winnable games, at least you'll say that. And then you finish the season at San Diego State. So Boise State has 4 left against the big boys, 4 left against the bottom 3 teams in the league, and the bottom 4 teams. So I think the schedule sets up nicely for Boise State. As I said, Utah State on Saturday. This is Boise State's tough week. You'd like to find a way to hold serve and win a game. And certainly you just saw what Utah State did losing to Nevada. So I don't think Boise State's going to come in thinking by any means they can't go into Logan and win if they just saw Nevada do it. So a lot of reasons to be excited about Saturday's game and to know that it's a big game for a lot of reasons. Lose a few and in 5th and 6th place, crazy. You lose one. You lose one game and all of a sudden you drop down. It is going to be crazy how much one game could really impact these standings here in the Mountain West Conference. Derek says, win or lose on Saturday, take care of business at home and on that stretch while the rest of the contenders beat each other up. And that is kind of the name of the game. That bye week and then the 2 weeks. I mean, they have a 3-week stretch where they shouldn't lose a game in 3 weeks. They have the bye, so they don't play for a week. And then they have 4 of the worst teams in the conference coming up. So, I mean, there's a 3-week stretch where Boise State should not lose a game after Saturday. And so that's why Saturday is a massive game. If you can win Saturday, you guarantee yourself that at least for the next week with the bye, you're in first place. And then you have a chance to stay there with some home games and a couple of the easier road trips in the league. I guess if you want to call Wyoming that. I mean, I know it's not easy, but that is a game you probably should find a way to win. So this is a big stretch, and that's why it's culminating with a big game on Saturday, because as I said, you give yourself a little room for margin for error if you're able to find a way to win on Saturday with one of those home games, because you're putting a lot on the line. You are having to win against Nevada and New Mexico at home, but again, I think you can do that. But again, you just saw Nevada go in and win at Utah State, so that's not going to be an easy game, and certainly what New Mexico has done isn't going to make that an easy game. So that's why Saturday would just be a massive win to stay in first place. And as these other carnage starts to happen around the league, and then, like I said, maybe give yourself a little bit. We said all along, the goal was 13-5. Johnny Mallory, everybody's been on this show. We've said if you can go 13-5 in this league this year, you're going to be okay for the NCAA tournament, and you're probably going to be right there near the top of the conference standings. And the 13-5 is you got 2 losses left. I mean, you're 7-3 right now. So I think with the 4 easier games, that gets you to 11-3. And then you basically got to split the 4 against the big boys to get to 13-5. And that's why if you can just get one of those 4 on Saturday, that leaves you a lot of wiggle room if you need it later in the season. But if not, it lets you maybe finish 14-4 and probably get at least a share of first place there. I don't think any of these other teams are running the table. So I think Saturday would be a massive game for a lot of reasons. And Bronco Nation News, again, will be there. They're dedicating the court to Coach Morrill, the old coach there that was there a long time. And so obviously be an emotional game, a sold-out crowd, going to be a lot of fans, and it's going to be crazy. It certainly won't be easy for Boise State, but I certainly think it's a game that Boise State certainly feels they're going to have a good chance to win. So just didn't play well at Colorado State, missed a lot of easy layups, missed shots they don't typically miss, gave up a lot of easy layups and shots they don't typically give up, and you just kind of crumple up the film, throw it away, and just you kind of just chalk it up. And hopefully they, if you're a Boise State fan, that they come out and play a lot better on Saturday, which they haven't really had back-to-back, 2 bad games here very often this year. So you have to feel that there's a lot more in the tank, and they're going to come out more desperate and more fired up and play well on Saturday. So Jay Tust will join me at 9 a.m. tomorrow. We'll really get into the Utah State team and the Mountain West and break this down and get you set for the game on Saturday, 9 a.m. tomorrow. Jay Tust, KTVB sports director, will join us. And then again, we'll have some more giveaways. We're getting ready to give away that trip next week. If you want in, it's BNN 50 deals, the promo code. You get a 1-year subscription for $50 to Bronco Nation News, and enters you into our yearly subscriber giveaways where you can win the private jet trip for 2 for San Diego for the final game of the season. So we'd love to have you subscribe. BNN 50 deal. We'll have some giveaways coming up. We'll be doing another one on Saturday in Logan where we'll give away some prizes and some gift cards and things. We'll do that on the pregame show. So Lithia Ford at Boise pregame show. I think it's an 8 o'clock tip-off, so we'll be live at 7 o'clock from the Spectrum there in Logan. 7 o'clock live with the full pregame show. And looking forward to getting down to Logan, and it's going to be a fun evening and hopefully a fun game for Boise State. And Kurt brings up Max Rice Court. I know he made some comments last year about Utah State that the fans were really getting on him. And as you guys have seen in the last week or two, I guess I'll leave it at that. Max Rice certainly is fueled by some of the doubters, and going into Logan, probably going to be an exciting opportunity for him to have a big game and quiet the crowd. So I think that could be a big opportunity on Saturday to get Max Rice going and see what happens there. So appreciate you guys for checking us out. Leon Rice, I think they're talking tomorrow, so no interviews today, but you can go watch the football interviews on our YouTube channel with Spencer and Bush and Eric. And then you can, again, join us 9 a.m. tomorrow. Also, that women's, by the way, that women's team, we had Bronco Nation News was the only outlet there last night covering the women's game. So if you want to read up on the women's team, 33-33 late in the third quarter, coming back and winning by 30. Brendan Walton has a full story that is free for all to read at bronconationnews.com. So jump on there, check out the women's story, check out some of our other content. And as I said, please subscribe if you can. BNN 50 deals, that promo code. We're giving you $20 off your first year, so it's only $50 to subscribe for BNN. If you can't do that, at least our social media channels are worth the follow. We're trying to get towards 5,000 YouTube subscribers. Help us out. Tell your friends. Subscribe on YouTube. And that's the easiest way to talk in the chat and things during the shows. So appreciate you guys for checking us out. If any news breaks or anything, we'll have it covered at BroncoNationNews.com. Keep that May 31st date on your calendar for the golf tournament, and more details to come on the registration and things like that. But if you are a business, want to sponsor a hole or become a bigger sponsor of the tournament, please reach out to me. Email address is rains@BroncoNationNews.com. We're still taking those RSVPs for the Circle Pool Party as well on March 15th. Rains@BroncoNationNews.com. Email an RSVP, and we'll waive your cover charge there at Stadium Swim. So have a great rest of your Thursday. We appreciate you guys, and we will talk to you with Jay Tuss 9 a.m. tomorrow. This has been a presentation of RoePaint.com. Check them out, ROEPaint.com, our title sponsor. All your painting needs, look no further than RoePaint.com. We appreciate all you guys for your comments. We appreciate all of our subscribers, all of our advertisers, and we'll talk to you at 9 a.m. tomorrow with Jay Tuss. Bronco Nation News Live here at BroncoNationNews.com.